I'm from Brazil and study the use of algorithm in the hiring process and its consequences for society, organizational, and the HR professional. My advisor in Brazil is a Professor Dr. Liliana Vasconcelos, and he in Hochschule Bremen is the Professor Karl-Heinz Schuvoso. So a little about me. I'm working with human research for 14 years in Brazil and Colombia. And my recently, I was working with a company to consulting startups in the process for training development. And in there, I decided to focus my thesis in hiring process because most of the companies in this place don't have a lot of interviews, don't have a lot of candidates. So I started asking why. Beside the coach and the HR professional, I like writing, creative writing. And last year, I published my first book about my life here in Deutschland. The book is Aí Respeta de 10,000 Euro. So my introduction today is about my thesis, and my thesis is divided in 3 articles. I just presented how the concepts and theory behind in the which 2 articles I'm talking about. So the introduction. Last years, we saw much of the technology, or precisely AI, in the society, and discuss about how they need to be used. We saw AI with self-driving cars. We saw the brief about the scientists that need to pause all the experiments with AI. We saw technology to hiring process that use ATS, algorithm track system, to find best candidates, and another algorithm that interpret your voice, intonation, your line of expression in your face, and how this can help you to find a good match for a job position. So the core concepts of my thesis is digital transformation. So when you talk about digital transformation, is you expect that technology can be identified anymore. More precisely, the technology is used in most prosaic activities in the human society that we can distinguish with technology what is human. So multiple technology as Internet of Things, Internet of Services, big data, cloud, digital twin, machine learning, and the algorithms is one of them. So when you use technology, I understand that is similar nudge. You just push somebody to make a decision, you aware this decision. Example, when you use a technology to ask for food, you know you can go to the restaurant and buy this food. The same restaurant has the same service, but you decide to use the app because it's more easy, fast. So my thesis, I'm thinking to explore more how this technology changes your behavior. So a way to do this, I choose the people selection strategy because in most of the companies today don't know how this still work, because I can saw companies that use personality tests or find for recommendation about the last job, or use technology, or if you do, I don't know, a test, random tests or interviews, or just screen the curriculum to find the best fit. So to do this kind of different steps, so different strategy to find a good candidate, I saw some consequences to diversity. When you use diversity, when you look for diversity in most of the company, is difficult to define if this diversity has some influence to the process or some influence coming for the people that interviewed or the recruitment team. So more about the algorithm process. The algorithm process is a mathematical form. So you have a data. This data can be from human or the last choices made in this company. Do you put inside a mathematical model? Do you have the results? Do you use it again? Some companies don't do the data feedback to solve what results came from there. So the use is continue. You don't know what bias inside, what results do you have, if you can do better to understand the process. So my research questions, my thesis, how much does human research continuous of algorithms in the hiring process act as filter, limiting or preventing some people with social marks of difference from access to job marketing? This social marks is from filter for diversity. So ethnicity, age, race, or both cultures. So my proposition is standardizing behavior through bias on the architecture, the program, or the user, or push a button functioning a choice architecture. So I want understanding how much the continuous of the algorithm in the hiring process change society. In this change societies, beginning in the organizational candidates. What the characteristics of the candidates that pass the process? A white, man, woman, black, or people from another country. My proposition is there is bias in the data, there is bias in the users, in the programmer that affect this process. The second one is just press a button, is functioning as social architecture to nudge, because a recruitment team can decide that improve this hiring process doing another steps, qualitative steps, or just use the technology. So my 3 articles work this way. The first one is a literature review. I just analyzed 1,000 articles to understand until now the beginning for the data that exists in Web of Science until now, 2023. How's the use of technology in the hiring process? The second one has a qualitative cases, is a binational study that I'm conducting in Brazil and in Germany to examine the applicability of the use the algorithms here in the hiring process. So each company that I decide working with here in Deutschland needs to be a unity in Brazil. I want to understand how the algorithm works here in Brazil. The third one is a quantitative case that I analyze the algorithms in the selection process and compare how non-white participants are evaluated. So more detail. I already started to analyze the articles, the systematic review, the literature review. So my primary results for before the digital transformation. Most of the algorithms use the research talk about the consequences for work and the concern about what skills human need to development. Now, after the digital transformation, most of the studies talk about the interaction and the communication with candidates and the nature of the work. So the work change. There is jobs before the concern is about no job anymore for humans, but there is jobs, but most of the jobs change the nature. So the people need to adapt the knowledge or upgrade the competence to work with technology. The second art, as I told you before, is a binational. So I want to understand the paths of technology designing and how this technology travel between contexts, because Germany and Brazil has different cultural, different social problems. So I want to understand what is inside this technology that influence the environmental and the history context. Because in Germany, I have read about the immigration, the refugees, and the difficulty of them to get inside the job market. In Brazil, these difficulties occur with Black people from the suburbs. So which is similar, which is different in both these contexts, and how the technology help or not these unequal economic relations. So the collection is you analyze the hiring process. My proposition is interview 4 people, the recruitment team, and if possible, analyze documents. And the participants need to be each a manager, recruiter, or even the people that develop the software. So it's a qualitative approach. I use multiple case studies. I think I use 4 companies. I analyze with Eisenhardt. Eisenhardt is a specialist for multiple case study. And I wanted to find similarities and uniqueness among these cases. The third article, I use a company in Brazil, huge company in Latin America, really, that work with a consultant for training process, for trainee process. For each position that this company open has 40,000 candidates. So I will analyze a national trainee with high concern about diversity, a national trainee with low diversity concern, in the regional, or say, Northwest Brazil, and the regional trainee in Brazil South and Southeast. Data collection will be qualitative and quantitative. The quantitative, I use all the data they have about this selection process, the socio-demographic information about the candidates, how the result about the use of algorithms. In the qualitative cases, I will use interviews to understand the data, because in each selection process has one person responsible of. So I will interview to understand how we decide what candidate we will choose, if he had or not a qualitative step, how the company choose, if it was a requirement before and after. So the data analysis for quantitative, I use frequency tables, cross-tabulation, multiple regression analysis, and multi-level modeling. In the qualitative data, I use thematic content analysis by Miles and Huberman. The limitation of this framework is most of the data is already there. I can't adapt for my research, so I need to use the population groups or geographic areas already there. So it's not possible I acquire data specifically to a new research question. So with these 3 articles and my thesis, I wanted to answer about the Bondaruki rule, about the implication of the continued use of technology by human research in the relationship with the context, or sea, society, countries, identify which data is used and how it's managed by software in the companies. Here in Deutschland has a huge discussion about the privacy of data, which data will be necessary to hiring process. For example, in Brazil, the companies already ask about the Instagram account, LinkedIn account, and for me is like, I don't know, invasive. I don't know how this information help companies to find a best fit. And I want to understand what data is necessary to find a good candidate. I want to also identify the origin and the consequence of technology discrimination. With the first article with a literature review, I already find that most of the technology, most of the softwares that they use to hiring process, they also suggest that can use it even to find a wife or a husband in another country. So I understand that with the years, with the pass of the years, most of the people don't want to take responsibility for the decision. Rely on the technology to do so. So when you go beyond the company, you go beyond the capabilities that the algorithm can do, what is the result of that? So I want to also propose a set of the rules for using this technology in EGR practice and provide some kind of protection for the candidates. Because for me, recruitment and selection is the individual's gateway to become a citizen. Without job, what do you have? So job is a part of your life, and we need job to be part of the society. So that's it.